I work the front desk at a meditation retreat in rural Japan. Last month, an American woman checked in for our 7-day silent retreat. She read the rules, signed the agreement, bowed respectfully. 10 minutes later, she was back. So when you say silent, you mean like quiet talking, right? Like library voices. I explained no, complete silence except emergencies. She stared at me. But what if I need to ask where the bathroom is? I pointed to the map she'd been given. What if the map is wrong? I told her it was accurate. What if I have questions about meditation? I explained those were in the orientation video. She stood there processing. Finally, what if I just have a really important observation? She lasted 11 hours. At 2 a.m., she knocked on my door about a spider she felt was important to communicate for safety reasons. The next morning, she left. Her parting words: "This isn't meditation. This is just being rude to each other." A Buddhist monk asked me what happened. I told him. He nodded slowly. Americans think silence is what happens when nobody's talking. They don't understand silence is what happens when nothing needs to be said. Here's what I've learned. Americans don't fear silence. They genuinely believe it's broken something that needs fixing. I drive a city bus in Helsinki. An American tourist got on, paid, sat down. Normal. Then she started talking to the passenger next to her. Crazy weather, right? The passenger, an old Finnish woman, glanced at her, nodded once, looked away. The American tried again. "Do you live here?" "I'm visiting from Texas." The woman didn't respond. The American looked confused but kept going. "I'm here for a work conference. Technology sector." "You work in tech?" Nothing. Absolute silence. The American's voice got louder. "Hello? Can you hear me?" The woman could definitely hear her. Everyone could. The American looked around the bus at all of us sitting quietly. "Is she okay? Should I call someone?" I caught her eye in the mirror and shook my head. She came up to my seat. "I think that woman might be having a medical emergency. She's not responding." I told her the woman was fine. Finns don't do small talk on buses. She looked horrified. "So everyone just sits here? In silence? For the whole ride?" I nodded. She stared at the quiet bus like she'd discovered an alien civilization. "That's so sad. How do you even know if people are happy?" She spent the rest of the ride texting someone about the depressing public transport culture. Before she got off, she loudly announced, "Have a great day, everyone," to the silent bus. One person looked up. Most didn't. I hosted a dinner party in Oslo. My colleague brought her American boyfriend. Norwegian dinner parties have a rhythm. We eat, talk a bit, fall into comfortable silence, talk again when someone has something worth saying. It's peaceful. This man could not handle it. The first silence lasted maybe 40 seconds. He jumped in with, "So, anyone watch the game last night? We don't follow American sports." Silence returned. He tried again. "This food is amazing. What's the recipe?" I told him. Brief exchange about cooking. Then quiet again while we ate. He started sweating. "Is everything okay? Did I say something wrong?" We assured him everything was fine. More silence. He launched into a story about his childhood dog. Completely unprompted. We listened politely. Story ended. Quiet again. He looked around desperately. "Guys, if I'm boring you, just tell me." My friend's husband said, "You're not boring us. We're eating." The American looked at his plate like it had betrayed him. "But we can eat and talk." The husband shrugged. "We can. We don't have to." That broke him. He started asking rapid-fire questions. "What do you do for work? Where'd you grow up? Do you have siblings? Favorite movie?" Machine gun conversation. We answered briefly. He kept going. "What about hobbies? Sports? Music? Anyone here play instruments?" Finally, my friend touched his arm. Honey, it's okay to just be quiet. He looked at her like she'd suggested holding his breath for an hour. But that's awkward. She said it wasn't. He insisted it was. In America, if nobody's talking, something's wrong. He didn't last through dessert. Excused himself to make a phone call and stayed in the other room talking loudly to someone back home. I teach tea ceremony in Kyoto. Last spring, an American couple joined a group session. I explained the ceremony's purpose, mindfulness, presence, appreciating silence and simplicity. They nodded enthusiastically. We love meditation, the wife said. We do headspace every morning. The ceremony began. I demonstrated the movement. Silence settled over the room. Beautiful, intentional silence. The wife lasted 3 minutes. She whispered to her husband, "This is nice." He whispered back, very zen. I continued the ceremony. They watched quietly for maybe 2 more minutes. Then she whispered, "How long does this go?" He shrugged. She checked her watch. Whispered again, "Should we be doing something?" I paused and gently reminded everyone that silence was part of the practice. She apologized. Quiet returned. For about 90 seconds. Then she started a whispered commentary. "Look at how she's pouring. That's so precise. Do you think that's hard to learn? I bet that's hard to learn. The cups are beautiful. Are those handmade?" Her husband kept shushing her. She kept whispering, "I'm being quiet. This is quiet." Other participants, all Japanese, sat perfectly still. The contrast was remarkable. She finally raised her hand like we were in school. "Sorry, but is something supposed to happen? Like, is there a part where we drink the tea?" I explained we would reach that part naturally. She looked confused. "But when?" I told her soon. "But like, how soon?" After the ceremony, she apologized profusely. "I just have anxiety, and silence makes it worse." She pulled out her phone to show me her meditation app, which featured guided sessions with constant talking. "See? That's how I meditate. Someone's always talking me through it." She left a review saying the ceremony was beautiful but inaccessible for people with active minds. I live in Berlin. My apartment building has a small elevator. Last year, an American family moved in. The first time I shared the elevator with the mother, she smiled and said, "Hi. We just moved in. 4th floor. We're from California." I nodded politely. She waited for me to respond. I didn't. She tried again. "Have you lived here long?" I said, "Yes," and that was it. 6 floors of silence. She shifted uncomfortably. Checked her phone. Looked at the floor numbers. Finally blurted out, "Is the elevator always this slow?" It wasn't slow. I told her it was average. More silence. She literally sighed with relief when the doors opened. Every single time we shared that elevator, she tried. "Nice weather. Cold today. How about that construction noise?" I'd respond minimally or not at all. This is normal in Germany. Elevators aren't social events. One day she cracked. We got in the elevator and she immediately said, "Okay, I have to ask, did I do something to offend you?" I was genuinely confused. I told her no. She didn't believe me. "Then why won't you talk to me? Every time I try to be friendly, you just don't respond." I explained that we were acquaintances sharing an elevator, not friends having a conversation. She looked hurt. "But that's so cold. We're neighbors. We should be friendly." I told her I was being friendly. I held the door, said hello, respected her space. She shook her head. "That's not friendly. That's just existing near each other." She started taking the stairs. Her husband told my neighbor she found me intimidating. I'd exchanged maybe 30 words with her total. I manage a tech team in Stockholm. We hired an American developer. Smart guy. Good work. Absolutely could not handle our meetings. Swedish meetings are efficient, someone presents information, we think about it silently, then discuss. The silence isn't awkward. It's people processing. First meeting, he presented his project update. Finished talking. Silence fell while everyone absorbed the information. He stood there for maybe 15 seconds, then nervously asked, "Any questions?" More silence. People were formulating questions. He panicked, started over-explaining everything he'd just said. "So like I mentioned, the back-end integration, actually, let me clarify that." He talked for 5 more minutes, rehashing everything. When he finally stopped, my Swedish colleague asked one simple question. He answered it in 10 seconds. More silence. He looked around anxiously. "Anything else?" "No." "Okay, cool, great." He sat down looking like he'd survived something. After the meeting, he came to my office. "I think that went badly." I told him it went fine. He disagreed. Nobody said anything. There was so much dead air. I felt like I was bombing. I explained that silence meant people were thinking. He looked skeptical. In America, silence means you're losing your audience. Next meeting, same thing. He'd present, silence would fall, he'd panic talk to fill it. I pulled him aside and explicitly told him to let the silence happen. He tried, but you could see the physical discomfort. He'd start fidgeting, shifting weight, glancing around nervously. Eventually, he started bringing a notebook to meetings and would furiously write notes during silences just to have something to do. My team found it odd but harmless. He told me it was the only way he could handle all the awkward pauses. I own a small cafe in Amsterdam. Last summer, 2 American women came in, ordered coffee, sat down. Then they did something I'll never understand. They sat across from each other and both immediately pulled out their phones. Didn't speak, just scrolled in silence. After 5 minutes, one looked up. "This is nice, right? Just hanging out." The other agreed. They both went back to their phones. This continued for 20 minutes. Every few minutes, one would interrupt the silence with, "Oh my God, look at this," and show the other her phone. A Dutch couple at the next table sat in actual silence, reading newspapers, occasionally commenting on articles. Comfortable, connected silence. The Americans noticed. One nudged the other. "Are they okay? They haven't talked in like 10 minutes. Her friend glanced over. "Maybe they're fighting?" They watched the couple with concern. One American leaned toward them. "Excuse me, are you two all right?" The Dutch woman looked up, confused. "Yes." The American pushed forward. "It's just, you've been sitting there so quiet. If you need space from each other, one of you could take our table when we leave." The Dutch couple stared at her. The man said, "We're fine. We're enjoying our coffee." The American wasn't convinced. "But you're not talking." The woman said, "We don't need to talk." That seemed to genuinely puzzle them. "But then why are you sitting together?" The Dutch woman smiled patiently. "Because we enjoy each other's company." The American looked at her friend. "But you're not in each other's company. You're just here." The man folded his newspaper. "You two have been on your phones not talking for 30 minutes. The Americans looked at each other's phones, then back at the couple. "That's different. We're sharing things." They couldn't grasp that their phone silence was isolation while the Dutch couple's actual silence was connection. I run a bookshop in Edinburgh. We have a reading room, quiet space, comfortable chairs, house rules posted, whispers only. Last month, an American woman settled in with a book. Within 10 minutes, she'd started a full-volume phone call. "Hey. Yeah, I'm in this cute bookshop." I approached and pointed to the silence sign. She covered her phone. "Sorry, I'm almost done." Kept talking. "Anyway, so I told him." I interrupted and asked her to take the call outside. She looked annoyed. "I'm literally almost finished." 5 more minutes of talking. Other readers stared. One got up and left. She finally ended the call, then immediately started another one. Mom? You'll never believe what just happened. This woman asked me to leave for being on my phone. I stood there, waiting. She saw me and said into the phone, "Hold on, the shop lady is giving me a look." She stepped outside, stood directly in the doorway, still visible, still audible, and continued talking. When she came back in, she said, "There. I went outside like you asked." I explained she needed to stay outside if she was talking. She was baffled. "But I'm done with my calls now." She sat down. Lasted maybe 3 minutes before texting someone. Her phone keyboard clicks were on full volume. Another reader politely asked if she could silence her keyboard. She did, but huffed loudly about it. 2 minutes later, she asked me, "Is there a cafe nearby where I can actually relax?" The reading room settled back into comfortable silence. Pages turning. Occasional contented sighs. One reader caught my eye and smiled. We didn't need to say anything. Sometimes I wonder if Americans experience silence like drowning, this desperate need to surface and gasp for air. But it's not silence they're drowning in. It's themselves. And talking is the only way they know to prove they're still there. Next time, Americans who correct locals about their own geography. You haven't seen confident ignorance until someone from Ohio explains to a Roman where the Colosseum actually is.